Highly gifted, my jacket's thrifted. Watch me get a pattern shifted, just acting different. Living in my minutes, I'm catalytic. That's why they love to jack the style like it's on a Civic.
Welcome to episode 9. We're calling it Crystal Balling the Future. Boston's Vision Unveiled. Sounds cool, right? Dr. Botha has joined us again, and he's got his little crystal ball. True story, he's got a little crystal ball, and he's going to have a look into the future of education. He's going to have a look into the future goals of Boston and how setting the stage for an unparalleled learning experience is really going to throw up your career trajectory. It's a great conversation. What's the future of Boston looks like? Yes. So are there like... talk me through this, because this is interesting, right? It's like and the reason why I was asking this, I think when I come to an institution, there is what does the future of that institution look like, and what does my future possibly look like as a member of that institution?
Yes. Yeah, it's agreed. The students and graduates is forever part of the institution. So the institution. Mm-hmm. They embody the institution, and the institution's future successes also embodies them. So Boston Broadcast is obviously a pivotal part of our future, and also how we want to serve the greater community. We mentioned some of the keys around Boston Broadcast, but also just to state that some of the program features will speak directly to the greater community. We're looking at school leaving, at program repertoire for school leavers, for assistance with their journeys and particular subject areas. We're also looking at serving the small business community that's part of our ecosystem. So it in itself represents an active part of our future where we're actively busy in our broader and local communities. From a program perspective and qualifications perspective, we've set an ambitious goals. Our development journey to date as an institution over the last decade has been that of, we started with 2 programs, then we went to 7, then we went to 14, then we went to 21, 23 odd. We now recently added 4 programs, and in very, very hot in demand, long-term hot in demand areas, game design, end user interface, and as higher certificates. Brilliant. To serve all that beautiful functionality and needs that the higher certificate does, but in the same vein in areas that pivots you into these new generation fields of work. We're in financial services now to support careers in financial financial advisory and intermediary services, phase fit and proper, as they call it. And our next series of qualifications is looking at furthering that range of higher certificates, even further the range of diplomas, the range of degrees and postgrad. We're in the application for accreditation phase for a master's in business administration, the big coveted MBA. Yeah. We're awaiting outcomes for a Bachelor of Laws, to move from higher civic paralegal to a BCom law to an LLB. We're waiting outcomes in a great field expansion around media. As part of Boston Broadcast, and it as an engine will also serve students for practicum. So we're a new diploma in media practices. I know you've been heavily involved in the design of that program. A BCom in strategic communications, higher certificates in journalism and public relations. So there's a great number of degrees and exciting programs. I can name them. I can't say all day long, but we have and then a range of postgraduates to add to the postgraduate diploma in management that we mentioned is on that rungs at level 8. Pass the degree with a 7, and under the master's degrees that's at a 9, that transitions you in. A range in sustainability and governance, in applied social sciences, We're working on psychology. So there's a whole repertoire, and then the future will remain as we kind of call it like a pyramid, to say we ultimately one day want to offer a PhD for a limited number of candidates. That's not everybody's aspiration, but as a function, an outplay to society, society needs a certain number of doctoral candidates, of doctorate holders, because that expertise filters into academia, it filters into high-level research, in industry and in government. So as a function, it's interesting that the statistics also bear out, we generate a good number, but not sufficient number of doctorals, and many of them actually leave the country. Right. So in that sense, we want to contribute to saying our end goal is that apex predator at the top, is that PhD for academics, and then a range of master's degrees, a bigger range of postgrads, even bigger range of degree programs, and then diplomas and higher certificates, and a few specialized advanced certificates we haven't even spoken about. Advanced certificate is also at a level 6, parallel to a diploma. It's also a 1-year qualification, 120 credits. Somebody with a higher certificate can do an advanced certificate, by way of example, or with a diploma, you do it, or with a degree again to attract a speciality. So we're looking at areas like customer support practices, and that represents, for example, in industry, South Africa is a destination for the call center industry, and it will continue to be, again, because of unique nature of our human capital, and those are areas that you can specialize in. Right. So the future is very is for us bright, and for Africa bright, us within Africa together bright. But it is a journey. The institution develops over time. Yeah. It's not things that happen that you decide today and you open the tap and the water runs tomorrow. You need to build the infrastructure, build the design the qualifications, do the research, build the capacity amongst faculty. And then in the same vein, we're building this institution and we're building this, advancing this pyramid. We also started developing a range of positions in faculty that's purely focused on research and research outputs. Right. In general, our faculty at this moment is either focused on administration, assisting the student process and journey, or as a core subject matter expert supporting students within modules in teaching and learning and assessment. And they do limited research because the focus is on the teaching and learning. So to stimulate that further and to make this bigger contribution and to ultimately be able to support the masters and doctoral students is to have a range of seats and fields in research that's dedicated to the pursuit of academic excellence and understanding how to support society advancing in a certain area, and let that filter back into the academic project for students to have exposure.
Right. I mean, what's for me the underlying factor that we're speaking about here is that we are investing in the future of the business, in the future of South Africa, and there are big investments happening from an institutional perspective, both in economically but also in time to continuously move this thing forward. And I think that's also important because of the reputation of the business, because it does play a factor in my decision to want to study at Boston City campus. And so understanding that and listening to you, it gets me excited about the future, right? It gets me excited about your project, and I'm sure you have sleepless nights about it, but luckily we don't have to. I've tried to bring this all together and put it together, but I just think it's such an important part of the conversation, because that's the reputation and that's the investment. And this is not an institution that is going away anytime soon. It's an institution that has invested in this country, has continuously, and is an institution at its highest level, and to get you to your possible highest level. And so it's an important and an exciting conversation to have. Thank you so much for watching episode 9. So you would have noticed, if you've watched episode 1 all the way to 9, we've been speaking a lot about sort of what Boston City Campus offers you, but also what the future looks like. But you might have a question around, okay, cool, but what is its global value? In other words, what is the global value of my degree or my diploma that I get at Boston City Campus? We're going to speak about that next on episode 10.